Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of The Jersey Doesn't Come Off. This is your host, Connor Johnson,
Your boy, Donovan Kennedy.
and we're talking everything Masters 2020. It's maybe a little late for a preview, but when has that ever stopped us? Me and Donovan are here watching Tiger play a little bit. Tiger's currently tied for 5th place with Patrick Reed at 3 under. Currently 2 shots back of leaders Webb Simpson and Lee Westwood, both of which are going for their first Masters championship. Tiger is, I believe, going for his 6th, maybe his 5th. I believe 5th.
I believe 5th or 6th, yeah.
Oh, anyway, it's a lot more than anybody else we got going on. So, Donovan, you're relatively new to golf. What do you know about the Masters and the Augusta National?
So I've watched enough golf. I've just picked it up in the past year and a half. But I'm really excited. I know these greens are more rough than most courses that a lot of these golfers have ever played, which is why I like Tiger this year. I know he won last year, and
Right.
This is kind of a good course for him.
Oh, absolutely.
His putting game has always been superb. So I don't really see him dropping out of the top 10 this entire weekend.
That Tiger playing well in week one in round one's big. Tiger, I believe in all but I think maybe even just his last major win. He always has been the guy that's out in front and nobody catches him. To a
Right.
point where he's only up until I think I don't know 2009, 2010 when he lost the PGA Championship to Y.E. Yang. Anytime that he was leading going into a Sunday on at a major tournament, he won it. So he was not only great at being great on Sundays, but he was great at making sure nobody caught him too, which is I think equally as impressive. But Tiger, like I said, being in contention this early is very good for him.
I think
So tell me what you know about the course.
so. Augusta National. I hear the winds are kind of crazy, just with the way the weather's going on right now.
Right.
And I think it's weird because of daylight savings and the Masters is later this year.
Right.
That there's a bunch of golfers starting on hole 10 rather than starting at 1 and going through.
Yeah.
So Tiger and I believe about half the golfers are going to start at the 10th hole and work their way through the back 9, and then next day they're going to do the front 9.
Right.
Which I don't think I've seen that ever before.
So they do that at a lot of other tournaments. For example, the U.S. Open, I believe, does that just because there's so many people playing, and yeah. But at the Masters, I believe this is the first time they've ever done this. I remember they usually said that they don't do that because they believe to play the course the right way. Like this course has been around for probably close to 100 years at this point now, if not very close to that. And they've been very traditional ever since. Like I remember back in I don't remember, but I know back in I believe the early 2000s they had to what's called Tiger proof the course, which was that Tiger was dominating the course so much that they had to lengthen it and make it a lot harder.
I'm not surprised at all. And going back to the course being real old, I think it's Howell the third. He's playing this year.
Yeah.
I think he's currently even through 12.
Right.
He has been on this course since he was 12 years old.
Right.
And it's the little things that he notices, like trees that weren't there before, little divots that are new. And
Right.
he's like, this is totally new territory for everybody.
Right. I believe they got rid of I think it's the Eisenhower tree. Let me look up that, make sure that's right. But do you know the story of that tree, Donovan?
I don't.
So this is a tree on I think it's on 17, I believe, at Augusta. Let me look this up, make sure I'm right. Yep, 17th fairway. And it's this giant, like 65-foot tall pine tree that's on the course. And back in the 50s, Dwight Eisenhower, current president, was he was always playing there, and he always would slice his ball into that tree. And he was pissed that every time he played, it would always just hit right into the tree. So he asked the owners of the club and like the board to remove the tree, and they decided not to, and instead they just named the tree after him instead. And
That's
then
pretty funny.
2014, there's a big ice storm there, and they ended up having to remove the tree.
You hate to
But
see it.
yeah, but
Well, if
then
that's the case, the way it's looking, I'm gonna have a lot of ponds named after me.
that's a good one. I like that. So looking at this leaderboard right now, there's a lot of big names up there. Who are you liking this week? Not
Oh,
necessarily to win, but who do you expect to have a good week? How about that?
John Ram is definitely up there on my list. I don't know if you saw yesterday when they were doing their practice holes. He actually
Right.
hit a hole in one across the pond. So he skipped his ball. It skipped like 4 or 5 times across the pond, rolled onto the green, and just curved all the way for a hole in one. And it was the most insane thing I've ever seen. So I
R-
think that alone is giving me some confidence in him
right.
because that's a trick shot, man. That's hard. So
My
he's definitely up there for me. I think Xander Scuffle is always going to be up there.
right. So
And Duchambeau is one of my other ones. He's not shooting great right now. He's even on the day so far, but I think he can definitely come back.
well, I was talking to my dad earlier. He told me that Bryson DeChambeau had a seven on I think a seven on the 13th hole. It's a really short par three. But
Yeah, they both.
that hole is one of the part what the one of the stretch of holes they call Amen Corner. And let me look up to see what he had on that hole. Yeah, he had it on
Yeah,
17, 13, which is actually the par five. But Amen Corner is usually the trickiest part of the course because I don't know if you've seen any of those holes. Like it's 11 is a long, narrow par four with a huge pond right in front of the green that the entire
right.
hole slopes to. 12 is like a 140-yard par three that has a big creek in front of it, but is tricky because of the wind and the way that the wind it moves, and you really can't tell which way the wind's going. And then 13 is a really cool hole. It's a par five that kind of bends all the way around, and it's kind of shaped like a U,
Yeah,
and it's
nice little
got a
dog leg.
yeah, and it's got the pond from 12 that goes into Ray's Creek, which is in front of like I said, in front of 12, and then it wraps all the way around like the left side of 13. So if you have somebody like Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm who's hitting the ball 350 yards, that kind of length doesn't necessarily help you as much as you'd think on 13 as it would on 15.
Right.
So
And
15, for those of you who don't know, is also a par five, and those are 13 and 15 are considered the two scoring holes on the back nine at Augusta. And if somebody like somebody at the hole at 13 is more of a position shot, where you got to make sure you're in the fairway and make sure you got a good shot at the green. Doesn't necessarily matter how far out you are for these guys, but it's more about the angle and the positioning.
well, I think what really hurt him there is just the water, and a lot
Yeah,
of these holes have some crazy water hazards. And it wasn't even a bad shot that DeChambeau hit. It just he hit it right in front of the green, and it just rolled
yep.
down to the stream. And
Well,
even though you can still get your ball, that's still a hazard. You still pick up a stroke for it.
that's what I think a lot of people who just watch Augusta and don't watch a ton of golf don't necessarily understand is just how hilly this course is. Like you look at pay attention to when the dudes today, especially today where the pin is on number 10, and you look behind them as they're like putting in, and all you see is just this giant slope heading straight up.
It's difficult, and I think I want to say it was Xander was actually talking about how starting on the 10th hole rather than the first hole is really going to screw a lot of people's
Right?
games
Yeah.
up because it's that giant hook that you have to hit right to get onto the green. And once you're on the 10th hole, you're warmed up. You've got a feel for where you need to hit.
Right.
But starting there is going to be a struggle because it's your first shot of the day that you're teeing off.
Yeah.
It's not real comfortable. It's been cold out, and so especially with the wind in the hills, it's a lot of guys are gonna not really be hitting par on that. You're gonna see a lot of guys that would have birdied it go par, or par have a bogey, or even a
Mm-hmm.
double bogey.
Right. It's usually a hole that's the reason that they say it's the Masters doesn't start till the back nine on Sunday. A lot of that, like you said, is because 10 is by no means an easy hole, but you get a good tee shot and a good approach shot, it's definitely a hole you can birdie. Like you go to 11, 11's difficult to birdie, 12's difficult to birdie, 13's a scoring hole, 14 I don't remember a ton about, but is I'm sure not super easy or hard.
It's
15 I know about, then
more or
16,
less a
7,
straight shot with a
yeah,
hook at the end.
16, 17, and 18, they're all pretty much par holes just because of the elevation and the slopes on the greens and stuff. So if you're trying to make up ground on the back nine, you have the two par fives and you have 10. And like you said, if you're going out and you're warmed up, hitting that hook that you have to hit onto the fairway at 10 is a lot easier after you've played 9 holes and you've hit a few hooks and hit a few cuts and you're like comfortable with your game. Because I have a little, not I'm not bragging by any means. So I have a little more I think of golf experience than you have, and when you're forced to hit a shot that's has like a big hook and like a draw on it, especially early in the round, that can kind of make or break your round. Like there's one course me and my dad play where the second hole is is a big dog leg left to a point where it's almost a 90-degree angle from the fairway to the green, or sorry,
Which is
from
a
the tee.
hard shot to hit for a normal person.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. Is when I played there in high school and we played like competitive golf there, my rounds and my scoring for the day would be based not based like fully based off, but if I was able to work the ball onto the fairway the right way and I was able to get through that hole with a par, I knew the rest of my round would be a lot easier and that I could make a good round. But if I pulled the shot a little or didn't put it in the fairway and had a big number, that kind of affected my game for the rest of the game. So I think
Right.
that's a really good point you make about everybody starting on 10 as opposed to 1. There's 1 at this hole, I don't know if you've seen, it's just pretty much you just hit a little bit of a cut shot over a bunker and then you have an approach shot to a green. So,
Right. It's a nice easy hole to start off the day.
right, and it's almost like they designed it that way.
I wonder.
Bobby Jones knew what he was doing a few years back, didn't he?
Definitely.
So,
So
go ahead.
when you're looking at these golfers, give me your top 3 picks for guys that you think could really pop off and get their green jacket this year.
So if I had to pick guys that have not won that I think have a really good shot, I would go. My first one is actually tied for 5th now, wildly, in Hideki Matsuyama.
Ooh,
Hideki
I like that.
Matsuyama has a above average short game for people on the tour. He's been putting decently lately, which is the key. And he's able to hit a lot of fairways and he's able to move the ball really well. Being able to work the ball on your drives and still finding the fairway is really important. That's why a lot of lefties win at Augusta. Like Phil Mickelson, Bubba Watson's won there a few times. I think Mike Weir won there. It's not necessarily because those guys are the better players overall, but hitting, like I said, hitting cuts into fairways where other dudes have to hit draws is a lot easier. And Matsuyama naturally hitting a bit of a draw and working the ball a lot more than a lot of people do, I think is going to help him a lot. And if we look at his history in the Masters, he's played pretty well there. He's definitely like he was top 5 in 2015. He's definitely been playing that. He's definitely played well in every major recently. He hasn't won one, but he's top 5 in all 4 of the majors, which is impressive to me. So he's got the pedigree and he's got big wins under his belt. But he's definitely a guy I think can be up there. Obviously, somebody like Lee Westwood is always going to play well here. He always plays well at these big majors. And then if I had to pick a third guy, I like Xander Schauffele. I know you picked him.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger's teeing off here on 18 right now. He just put his ball into the fairway. Nice job. I like Xander Schauffele. I think a lot of what I said about Hideki Matsuyama applies to Schauffele as well, but I think Schauffele's a better putter, and more importantly, he's a guy that can just get hot with his putter, and then everything he turns into Steph Curry, where he just starts making everything. There's a lot
40-foot putts.
right. There's a lot of guys out on the tour that are like that. Like at the end of the day, whoever wins this tournament is going to be the guy who has the best putting week.
Oh, 100%. Especially a course like this where a lot of your greens are going to be super difficult. If you can
All these
clean up
greens are brutal, man.
your putt game and really try to one putt most of these holes, it'll put you in a great position.
No, I agree with that.
A lot of these pros really, their drivers,
Here's
are no problem. A lot of these guys are getting 300-yard carries just off the rip, and that's nothing for them. But what it's really going to come down to is how clean is your short game.
right.
When you get to that green, are you one putting, or are you two putting, or are you even three putting a lot of times? And with these hills, it can make it unpredictable because we've seen a lot of shots that start to roll towards the hole, and you just see a crazy hill, and it's way left.
Absolutely. Like there's I'm watching the coverage right now, like as we're talking about this, and forget who it was, but they were playing with Tiger. And I think they were on 17, and they hit the ball from like right off the fringe, about 25-foot putt. They may have hit the ball to go about 6 feet, and the ball went 5 feet past the hole. It was incredible, especially since you look at what they're showing right now, and they're showing the weather delay from this morning and how waterlogged the course is, which only slows down the greens and makes them easier. And these guys still are not putting great, which I think is really, it's ridiculous. The par threes at this course, other than I think the fourth hole, I think the first one on the front nine, I don't remember which number it is. But other than that one, they're all relatively short. Like, they're not long holes, but they're tricky greens. There's bunkers and creeks around them, and then and they're just slopey as hell, so they're difficult. They're not long, but they're tricky, and that's kind of sometimes in golf that's a lot harder to deal with than having a 200-yard par three with nothing there. Is dealing with a 120-yard par three with a water right in front of it and a bunker along.
I would definitely agree.
So, judging from your watching the course, do you have any holes that stand out to you that you are impressed with or that you enjoy like watching dudes play?
So far, 13 has definitely been one of my favorites.
Right.
Just that water hazard right in front really makes things interesting. And
right.
I think a lot of guys, you can choose to go over the left side and go over those trees and try to put it in the middle of the fair, or you can play it safe and go around the trees. And I think we've been seeing a lot of guys just go straight over. I know Tiger decided to go over, and he overshot it a little bit, but he hit a good shot. I know John Ram did the same thing. He decided to go over the trees. But you see guys who are even or just under one on the day so far are usually going for those safer shots, which I find interesting because it's golf. You can play any way you want as long as you go to get to the hole.
Right. I think, getting back to your point you made a little earlier, I think somebody like Jason Day, I don't know if you know a ton about him.
I don't.
And a guy named, I believe his name is Siwoo Kim. Is that the one I'm talking? Yep, Siwoo Kim. Yeah. Siwoo Kim and Jason Day are both guys that are very precise in how they play. So they're guys that know exactly how far each of their shots are going to go. They know how the ball's going to land, how the ball's going to spin, and that kind of precision is usually really helpful at Augusta, because it could be the difference of you landing on top of a slope and the ball rolling back to the pin, where you go in a whole yard long and it rolling off into the bunker. So stuff like that, like you said earlier about knowing like the little details of the course and that kind of stuff, is very important. And somebody who's really precise in their games, like a lot of the Korean and Asian players are. Not saying that the other guys aren't precise by any means, but it's just more of a thing to them.
They don't play the same type of game.
No, and they kind of build their games from. That's an incredible shot from John Rahm. Sorry to interrupt myself, but that was incredible. But if you look at how the Asian the game's taught, they're taught pretty much putting and chipping, and that's pretty much what they practice majority of the time. And they know that in golf, that's how you score. That's how you get really good. Like, you started playing.
Yeah, you set yourself up to get in a good position where you can just make easy shots.
Right, and you know how golf is. Like, you know that you hit the ball 320 yards off your drive. That counts at the end of the day the same as you missing the 3-foot putt on 15.
Right, because you're making up those yards. You're making up that distance.
Exactly. So I think I could see in I don't like I hate to say like an Asian dude winning, but I could see somebody from Korea or from Japan, like a lot of these guys we as Americans may not know a ton about. I could see one of them winning this week just because they were the best putter of the week. Like
Oh yeah,
everybody's
that's definitely doable in this course.
everybody talk coming into this is talking about how Bryson DeChambeau's hitting the ball 400 yards and he's got 200-mile-an-hour clubhead speed, and his ball's going so far, and that's great if he can putt. If he can't putt and he can't chip, which sometimes he can't, doesn't matter how far the ball is going to hit.
Right.
Doesn't matter how many fairways he hits or misses. It doesn't matter what club he's hitting into these greens if he can't putt. Now,
and that's what we've kind of seen from him. You know, he's under one on the day after 10 so far, and he has 2 bogeys, and both of them are because, you know, he got up to the green, but then he had to 2-putt. You know, he missed his first putt, and he just had to pick up that extra stroke, and that's going to make or break you at the end of the day. If he pars both of those, he's sitting at tied for third, tied for fourth.
right. I'm looking at his scorecard right now. He just has the double on 13, and then 3 other birdies.
Oh, I'm looking at Xander.
Oh, you're looking at. I was talking about DeChambeau.
Sorry.
No, you're cool. Yeah, like I said, I like Bryson DeChambeau, but he's very capable of winning this. Even though he's 1 under and a few shots back right now, like he's by no means out of this.
Beginning of the weekend.
We're not
a whole lot of golf to play.
right. We're not even done the first. We're not even a quarter of the way through this yet. So good. You had a point.
You're good. Go ahead.
So, right now I'm watching Louis Oosthuizen play on the par 5-2. How I'm trying to think. There was a point I was going to make, but I forgot it. I was going to ask you how you would play some of these holes, like if you were playing.
Haha, I put it in the hole.
It's a good idea. How long have you been playing golf anyway now?
About a year now.
How are you like?
This year was like my first full season.
That's cool. How are you liking it?
Oh, I love it.
So
I love it. I'm thinking about getting some new clubs this off season.
There we go. So how often do you like watch professional golf, and like do you watch that much at all?
Yeah, I watch it when I can. You know, a lot of these matches start on Thursdays, which is kind of hard to get into, especially, you know, midday.
Right.
But I've watched the past probably month of like the professional golfs, the FedEx Cups, people trying to get into the Masters.
That's cool. How do you like? Is there anything like you think of specifically about your game when you're watching watching how these guys play?
Oh, my putt game, my short game is probably the best. Kind of like a who's what was his name?
Like Oosthuizen?
Yes, like Oosthuizen. My short game is really well, but I really struggle with my long game.
Okay, no, that's fair. It's usually the other way around. So like you got that down.
I can get the power. I just can't get the angle.
Hey, I get that, man. I'm still dealing with that too. So one thing I like to pay attention to is just these guys' routines when they're like hitting the ball, like going to is like what are they looking at? Are they looking at the slope? Are they looking at where they're going to land it? Are they looking at the hole? Like for example, I'm watching Patrick Reed here. He just left his ball short about 10 feet from the pin, just because the type of shot that he chose to hit. He chose to hit a shot that where he hit really down on the ball bounced once or twice and then stopped. Just had so much spin on it, just stopped. And if you looked at where he hit the ball into, he hit it into a very flat area when there was a very, like slopey area that was kind of sloped towards the green near him. And he looked right over at his caddy and said, I hit it to the wrong spot of the green. So that made me think, he was looking at where he wanted to land the ball. Because I think he hit that right kind of shot there, but he obviously put it into the wrong area, so it didn't end up working out.
A little bit.
Right, it didn't end up working out.
All right, so out of all the golfers, what we've seen, what we've not seen, give me your favorite to win.
As of right now, my pick to win is Hideki Matsuyama.
Ooh, I like it. Any reason why?
I think anybody ahead of him or within a shot or two of him can win it, but I just think he's him And then if I had to pick a runner up or somebody I think is going to be up there with him, my pick would be Paul Casey. Just because Paul
Okay.
Casey's really consistent at hitting fairways and he's a really good putter, and he's bound to win a major eventually. And this could be his year.
Could be the one.
So those are my two. I think those are the guys that are going to be in it on Sunday.
I like it.
Give me your two guys that are going to be in it on Sunday.
Right now, I'm looking at Tiger. You know,
Good pick.
Tiger fan forever. So.
Hey, me too, man. I could see him go and be in there.
And he's been playing well so far. You know,
Mhm.
I think the last couple of games he's played, he's been upwards to tied for 33rd, and that won't get it done. But if he's first, his back nine he's sitting under 3. He's 2 behind the leader. I like that.
Okay.
And I think my other one would have to be Lee Westwood.
Okay. Lee Westwood's
he's a little
consistent.
older, but he's been consistent throughout his entire career.
Dead right about that.
He just hit his first bogey of the day, which was on hole 12. But I think his shot looks real nice, and his putting game has been on point. And like we said, putting here is really going to be the make or break for you.
Absolutely. The way that the PGA Tour is now, and a lot of this is because of how good Tiger was 20 years ago and how many people he inspired to go out and play and be really good, is there's probably 50 guys or 60 guys playing this week that could win it if they play as well as they can. So like I said, it's going to come down to whoever's the best putter. Tiger still has best putter in the tournament kind of like skill and like technique and everything. I think Tiger, especially going 3 under on his front 9 on Thursday, that's huge for him. So I may not have picked Tiger to win, but he'll be in this come Sunday afternoon. Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, back 9 at the Masters on Sunday. Tiger's going to be there, and it's going to be great. Any final thoughts or close-up words you want to say?
Not really. I mean, I said most of what I had to say.
Very cool. All right, everybody. This was me and Donovan previewing and talking about the Masters, the 2020 Masters here. Go out, watch it if you hear this. There's a lot of great golf, a lot of great sports, a lot of great drama. This was Connor Johnson from the Jersey Doesn't Come Off, and this was Donovan Kennedy co-hosting with me.
Yes, sir.
Love to say thank you for listening. Please share and tell your friends about us. We're really trying to not necessarily make something out of this, but we definitely want people to hear us. I mean, I know I do.
Of course.
All right. This is us signing off, and have a great day, people.
Deuces.